Jennifer Lopez. Let's have a look. Another one. Blake Lively. Is Blake Lively really? It's not really massively famous. I'm looking for P. Diddy. That's a good one. P. Diddy. Mega famous. We'll get to Blake Lively and them later. Trust me. I just want this section of videos to be mega famous people. Let me cut out Jennifer Lopez. I nearly went on again without cutting out the video. Jennifer Lopez. 12 minutes. I went on a bit. Sorry. Jennifer Lopez. See, in reality, I only have to give you the skull check and find 5 gates. It takes a few minutes. Let's have you. Right. Who was it? P. Diddy. Obviously a woman. Diddy. Never trust a man whose eyes are too close together. Look how close and pretty the eyes. Small, high set ears, pudgy nose. Look, the earrings are in line with the nose, not the mouth. No chin or jawline. Look, just subcutaneous layers of fat. Images. There we go. I do believe I've got a P. Diddy. Let me just check the back file. Diddy. D-I-D-D-Y. Post. Search. Let's open up the next one. We're looking at P. Diddy. Free puff. Why? Did she go to prison? No, she didn't. Even after finding 1,000 bottles of baby lotion in his bedroom, didn't go to prison. Slip sliding away. Splish splash, I was taking a bath. Dum 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 dum. Rubber dub, I was having a scrub. Let's have a look at P. Diddy and some of his girlfriends. Look at the head on that thing. Is that Whitney Houston? Of course it is. He had a big head, didn't he, that one? Bowling ball skull versus a Tic Tac look. And I done Tom Hanks and Beckham. Didn't I do them both at the start of doing these? I'm sure I did Beckham and Hanks. Soon there's going to be that many videos here. I'm not going to be able to go back and check anyway because there'll be thousands. P. Diddy, skull check, failure. Look, it's an egghead. A woman with close set, rounded eyes, no brow bone, no brow, widest in the hairline, small, high set ears, a sloping jawline, beautiful, Betty Boop, kissy lips. Look at the 5 head. No cheekbones, high set ears. It's a girl. All of his boyfriends have got bigger jawlines, look, bigger chins, bigger mouths, bigger ears, wider eyes, but shorter foreheads. Boys with boobs. Cassie reveals why she cried for Diddy, kissed him for the first time. I can't imagine. It'll be some balls though. Diddy walking. Skull check done. Oh, we're done on the first picture. Diddy, full mints. There's another one from full mints. There's another one. Female Bigfoot from full mints. Look at them all. They're all mincers. Apart from that big fella there, by the look of it. He looks like he's got a straight leg in the background. From Flamingo. The full mints, game over. This one as well, look. Full mints, inline footfall. Look at the state. Look at those here. Look at I'll tell you what. There isn't an FTM in public that is ever going to pass me by when I see hips like that and legs akimbo like this. Look at the state of that X Factor in them legs. Those legs don't even know if they're going forwards, backwards, sideways. Them legs don't even know what they're doing. But here's the point. If I was to walk down the street and see a man with trousers like that, legs akimbo like that, ski with legs going off at angles, I'd instantly know. And so will you. That's the difference now. You didn't. This person would have passed you by before. You wouldn't even notice the hips. You'd be too busy. Oh, look, it's P. Diddy, P. Diddy. Now you're like, those hips aren't Diddy, are they? They're massive. Huge hips. Game over. I'm taking that picture. I'll do something with that. Living in this world the way it is, I told you I'm not part of this world. That's why I hate it. It hates me too, and I'm fine with that. I am. They hated him first. He was the original truth spitter, and they hated him first. Inline footfall. Are we done? Arms akimbo, shoulder tilted, hips are twisted, full mint. Game over. P. Diddy is a woman. So when it comes to all the lies and distractions, look at Jay-Z mincing. All the stories about what P. Diddy did, what Bill Cosby did, what Jeffrey Epstein did, what Harvey Weinstein did, what any of them did. It's all made up tosh. None of it happens. None of it. That's why they go to prison. You can't put an actor in prison for playing a role of something that didn't actually happen because they're acting. You understand? It's just like being on stage. They're on the world stage acting. All these stories are humiliation rituals. That's all they are. To humiliate this person. Satan's grand design to ridicule, humiliate. It's just, as far as I'm concerned, they're distracting you from what is going on. And they do it constantly. You're bombarded by these distractions. You're absolutely bombarded by them, folks. You don't have time to think for yourself. You add to that startling thought, they've got you working minimum 40 hours a week, so you can't put your mind to anything. Minimum. Some of you work 6-7 days a week. Do you know what I find funny though? About the slavery in America. They talk about the slavery and stuff. There's lots of books on it. Yeah, there are. But I'll tell you what's not in them books. Who the slavers were. They know who the slavers were, but who are these people that trafficked all these African people around the world, or all the white people? Because they traffic every colour. Don't even get me started on it just being black people. We're all slaves. When you can see the whole picture, we're all slaves. We're still in slave ship. We're still in bondage. We're in chains. We're chained down by debt. We're chained down by lies in education. But I'll tell you what they don't put in them books about slavery. Who the slavers were. They do not want to tell you who the slavers were. Why? Why do they not want to tell me who the slavers were? Have they all got funny sounding names? If I was to look into the names... Excuse me, I'm laughing already, I'm sorry. If I was to look into slavers' names, would I find names like Weinstein and Epstein and something big? Would I find names like that? Would I? I've got another question as well. I've got another question. Not only do all I know the names of the slavers, and you know who they are, you just didn't put them in the books. Told us all about human trafficking, but not who the human traffickers were. If people were doing this for money, then that makes them businessmen trading in people. You must know their names. You must know their names. Who traded in these slaves? And you want to tell me it's just one nation of people that got slaves? Bullshit. All around the world there's slaves. Well, even now we're in bondage, like I said, but I'm not going into that. We're just talking about the old day slavery, the books that I've read on history of how English... The English Tea Company, right? It was the Indian Tea Company, which is an English firm. English people identifying as Indians. The Indian Tea Company. You kidding me? Anyway, back to the slaves. I want to go back to slaves. Put myself off. Right. So I've got all these slavers who made millions apparently from moving slaves all around the world. But you don't have the names. You can tell me the names of the boats. You can tell me the names of the slaves that came over. but you've forgotten the names of the slavers. But there's another twist to this. When you look into when you look into slavery, there's another twist to this. Not only can you not find the names of the slavers, but there's something very strange about the whole slavery industry. And if you don't know this, and it's the truth, go read about it. Go look it up. If you don't know this, I'm going to open up your mind. Slavery was not allowed on Saturdays. Who else don't work on Saturdays? Who abstains for stuff? Who abstains from doing anything from Friday night, midnight, till Sunday morning? Who doesn't work on Saturdays? And you've got your answer, haven't you? You've got your answer right there. Soon as I read that, I was like, what? They shut down slavery on Saturdays? Who would do that kind of thing? Who on earth would shut down slavery on a Saturday? Why? Why can't you work on a Saturday? You see, this is why they hated Jesus. Because he came on the Sabbath. He came on the day that this chosen nation of people, who Jesus said were not chosen, right? Told you can't work, but Jesus came along, he cured people. Oh, he carried on the Lord's work 24/7, Monday to Sunday, he didn't stop. But the Pharisees and the Pharaohs got real mad at him, didn't they? Who do you think you are? No, who do you think you are? Slaving people all around the world. We're not just talking about mass slavery in the books. We're talking about enslaving mankind, not just educationally, spiritually, physically. We're talking about mentally restricting them on all bounds necessary. That God said everybody, is it 6 hectares or 6 acres? God said every man, woman and child is allowed 6 hectares of land to build a house on, dig a well, and grow your own vegetables. That's written in the Bible. They don't want me to believe in the Bible because that is a beautiful part of God's wish and plan of earth. That he made enough earth for everybody to have 6 hectares, not acres, hectares of land. Apparently, you can put every single person in the world and cram them all into Texas. Texas is so big that everybody could have 6 hectares of land, everybody, and just live in Texas. And the rest of the world would be a wildlife park. That's the truth. It is. You could. But what they do is they bunch people up into 115-story high hamster cages. We call them high-rise flats, but they're hamster cages. And then they do the same along the floor. They lay people next to each other, one house after the other, all squashed in like sardines. Whilst they, the fucking... I want to swear, I really do. They take the countryside and the mansions, the stately homes that your ancestors built for big families to live in, because families never left each other in the past. I know they didn't. I've just got this gut instinct that people may travel around the world and stuff, but they never needed to leave each other properly like we do nowadays. Everything could be done simply, and you get to stay with your family. Imagine that, living with your whole family. You get to live with your grandpa and your grandmas and everyone. You know every generation. You're right there. You can just walk down the corridor and there's your gran, and there's your uncle, and there's whoever. Because they had these big houses with an east wing and a west wing, all for the people that were marrying into the family. And as the family got bigger, that's what them stately homes are, I'll tell you. They want me to believe that rich, single people dominate. The railway tycoons built those houses, and the tobacco billionaires, and whoever became a businessman had all them houses built. Bullshit. From the bottom of my heart, I know it's nonsense. We can't even build like that anymore. However they built them, whether it was laser machines that built those houses or molds that they filled with polymer of stone, and they when they set just like marble. They had building techniques that we don't know about, that's for sure. As long as I have a breath in my mouth, I'm going to scream God's name from the top of the rafters. It's the only point of... Everybody asks me, why? Why are they doing this? Your answer, no matter which rabbit hole you go down, fake nukes, fake dinosaurs, evolution, big pharma, everything is to hide God. It's that simple. Yep, Freemasonry. That's what they found. After the flood, after God got so mad at the place because they were shagging the animals and creating all sorts of mythical beasts that we think are myths, God flooded the place. If there's waters above us and windows in the heaven, and he opened up the windows of heaven and the water came pouring down, and he opened up the fountains of the deep because there's fresh water below us, and it erupted through the seabed, all of that water would cause the mud and the silt to cloud everything on earth. And then over 6 months, or whatever it was, 6 weeks, the waters would go down. But in that process, all the sediments and the rocks that got whooshed up, they'd all settle, biggest first, right down to the fine, silty mud. And when it all dried out and the boat, the ark landed and Noah and everyone got off it, they would have seen that the whole place was covered in mud and silt from one end of the earth to the other. There would have been mud all over the land. It would have buried buildings deep in mud. So deep that they couldn't get down to them, or it would be just too much effort for them to dig down to them. So they just left the tops of the buildings showing. That's why you have these buildings with underground basements and windows under the ground, etc. It makes perfect sense to me, that does. Not what they told me. But as far as a mud flood, nah, God's flood. Again, they'll partially tell you the truth, these truthers. These so-called truthers, they'll partially tell you the truth. They love to wrap it in lies. So it's no longer God's flood for what mankind did to the earth. It's a mud flood. We don't know who did it. According to the mud flooders, Teutonic Knights, look it up, Teutonic Knights in big silver armour had earthquake guns that turned the ground to sand, and the buildings, the whole building would just sink. Wherever they pointed the gun, the building would just sink. According to them. It makes no sense, does it? Earthquake guns. So where you point it causes an earthquake. How come the earthquake don't come back up and hit you in the arm? Surely the point of the earthquake would be the point or end of the weapon, like a gun. Yeah? The kickback. But people believe this stuff. I don't. I seriously don't. I don't believe none of it. P. Diddy's a woman. Final answer. Walks like a bitch. Got broken legs. End of story. This person graped nobody. It's all made up. All the P. Diddy stories, all the videos, all them celebrities that come out. I've seen this video. I've seen that video. P. Diddy did this. P. Diddy did that. P. Diddy did nothing because P. Diddy's been released. Because P. Diddy's an actor. They have earthquake tech today. They probably do, from Nikola Tesla, if it's true. Tesla had a machine that had a 20-pound weight in it, and when he set it to the frequency and rocking motion of the building, the whole skyscraper swayed. Only thing is, there's no fucking footage of it, and they had TV and radio as if so. Right, let me get this right. They busted Tesla's door down, the police, because the skyscraper was moving 15 feet from side to side, or whatever they say it was. Right? You're telling me in that day and age, no film crew came down and looked at this giant skyscraper that Tesla lived in, going back and forth like a what do they call them? A pendulum. You're joking. You're winding me up. There's see, Tesla didn't even discover free energy. It's bollocks. It's just the person they've put in history. Someone else discovered it a long time ago, or it was given to them by God. God gave them free energy, told them about the ether, the fifth element, and they used it. They knew how to use it with red mercury in the balls and capacitors and resistors, etc., all the way down. They knew how to control electricity out of the air. And then they had wireless radios and stuff as well. They had it all wireless. And then some Rockefeller or Rothschild or someone said, we'll do it with wires and then we'll charge them. We'll tell them this is the way it's got to be done and you've got to pay a little bit. You've got to pay a little bit of money. And then when everything was done and settled, they put the prices up and you got no complaints because they took away all the free electricity and the free Wi-Fi. We're done. P. Diddy is a woman. I was ranting again. You stop putting me off. P. Diddy is a woman, proven by the way she walks. Okay. Next. Where are we? P. Diddy. Anna Diarmas. I know the name, but it's not famous. Ivan Miller. It's not famous enough, Annie. Adriana Lima. That's famous. That's a supermodel. Adriana.